All righty. Let's talk some more about Iran and oil and anything else that comes to mind. We welcome back to the show the great Aaron Cohen, Israeli special ops veteran, founder of Gideon, and Marc Thiessen, Fox News contributor. Many thanks to both of you. Aaron Cohen, the news, one of the news is this Speaker of the Parliament, Galabaf is his name, has resigned. So the internal fighting continues to go on. I want to get your take on this because they're not going to get together. There's no evidence that anybody's going to get together. They're not going to put up an agreement. I don't even want an agreement. Mark's going to talk about that. It should be unconditional surrender. My basic question is, though, if something doesn't happen, are they all going to be taken out? Between the CIA and the Mossad, are they going to be taken out, Aaron Cohen? I ask you.
Larry, it's good to see you. To answer your question directly, yes. If they continue to play around, right, all cards are on the table.
Right.
The biggest mistake that people are making right now, Larry, that I'm seeing with everything that's happening with Iran is thinking this is about a deal. It's not. Trump doesn't need a deal, Larry, because he already has Iran where he wants them. They're weakened, they're fractured, they're running out of time. Diplomacy does not work with the mullahs. It's not what brings them in. It's the pressure, the military, the economic, which you just talked about in your riff, which is all part of Trump's psychological package here. So Iran's stalling. These guys are never going to negotiate in good faith. They're going to drag this out. And what they're trying to do right now, Larry, is buy time. And what we're seeing is that fracture play out. And regarding Galabaf stepping away from the negotiating table signals this to me, Larry. There is no unified leadership. There are competing factions, and decision-making is breaking down in real time. And so where we're at right now is Trump is holding all of the cards.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, terrific. Absolutely. And Marc Thiessen, I read your column with great interest. I mean, what's a deal? The only deal I want is unconditional surrender, where we dictate the terms here with respect to Hormuz and nuclear weapons and enrichment and verification and all the things that have been talked about publicly, but Iran won't fess up to. I mean, that's got to happen. These guys will never get together. Aaron Cohen is right. He's a very smart guy, Mark. I don't know if you know Aaron Cohen. He's on his top of his game. They're never going to get together. Never. They're going to wind up shooting out each other. You know, that's what happens in revolutions, right? The totalitarians, they always shoot at each other. You know, it's like Robespierre in France, or it's going to be like 1917 in Russia. Anyway, who needs a deal, Mark?
Exactly. So Donald Trump is the consummate deal maker, but the best deal makers know that sometimes the best deal is no deal. And right now, I think that's the case when it comes to Iran. He very skillfully used the ceasefire to bring ships through the Strait of Hormuz to install this blockade. And the blockade is absolutely crippling the Iranian regime. 95, because they've lost a lot of their land routes because of the war, 95% of their trade goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And it's not just exports, it's imports. So Iran, for example, uses 130 million liters of gasoline a day, but only produces 100 million. So that's 30 million liters of gasoline they're short a day as this blockade goes on. They're going to have gas riots. They're going to be gas lines. Irony, the regime that caused gas lines for us in the 1970s is now going to have gas lines because of this blockade. And if Trump then begins to now pummel them militarily, so Scott Bessent and Trump are pummeling them economically, Trump will begin pummeling them again militarily. And, you know, we've got about 30 to 40% of the targets left, 20 to 30% of the targets that Cooper was assigned at the start of the war still need to be hit. Once we hit those, once we resume the leadership strikes, the only reason these guys are alive is to negotiate. They were taken off the list and guaranteed their safety. If they're not going to negotiate, guess what? You're on the list, buddy. We're going to take out the remaining leaders. We're going to crush their economy. We're going to crush them militarily. And then Trump can open the strait to all ships except Iranian ships.
Right. No, I get it. I didn't mean to interrupt. But Aaron Cohen.
No, it's okay.
In your judgment, Aaron, will another round of combat be necessary?
Potentially, Larry. I'll tell you what is kind of living in the back of my mind here. I still think there's a nuclear risk. Okay, I think that I think that's the strategic reality, and I think What we saw with the setup at the beginning of the show, the Israeli defense minister, Katz, saying we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. There could be something that's being prepared right now. Iran is weakened, there's no question, but their enriched uranium stockpile still exists. It's deep underground. The facilities are active. Their long-term pathway to nuclear weapons hasn't been fully eliminated. So that's what's kind of living in my head. So the danger still exists in giving them time to rebuild that. So because a weak deal, temporary pause, doesn't stop that threat. It kind of preserves it.
Yeah.
So I'm with your guest. I'm with you. Strait of Hormuz. Listen, Hormuz, Larry, fear theater. They're not in control of anything. Like I said, there's wave runners and bullhorns out there. Iran's still trying to threaten the Strait of Hormuz. There's no threats going on out there. Trump already tripled the amount of manpower that's going to hit that little 16-mile, whatever it is, strait. But the nuclear angle, I believe if there's any more intel that surfaces, there may be a special operation aimed at that, but any leaders who step up and get silly will be eliminated. Trump is not afraid to weaponize his incredible military, and they have performed beautifully with Israel as their partners. So let's see how it continues to unfold.
And you know, Mark, you have to ask. You don't want this interregnum ceasefire or whatever it is to go on too long, because Iran, Iran, I'm not saying they can put it back together again, but they can regroup to some extent. And I don't want them to regroup at all. We've got them on the run. The country's imploding. Destruction is everywhere. General Keane made a point. Because there's a bombing pause, people will assess the damage. But the families of all these people, they're the ones who are going to suffer. And, their lives are being ruined. They don't have any money. They won't be able to buy bread. I mean, remember in 1917, Lenin talked about peace, bread, and land. Without bread, people start revolting. So I don't want this ceasefire to go on too long, Mark.
I agree with you. Look, Trump extended it a few days to give them a chance to put a proposal on the table. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. So you got to resume it. And keep in mind, this stopped. The pause stopped with about 14 days left on Admiral Cooper's target list. So you execute the final strikes. You finish the job that President Trump gave him. And then the final play is Karg Island. We either take Karg Island or we threaten the Iranian regime, what's left of it, that we'll destroy it if they don't hand over the nuclear dust. And then either they hand over the nuclear dust or we destroy Karg Island and then we've weakened them so much that we can carry out an operation to get the dust. I think your guest is right that we need to deal with that as the final play here. But to do that, we have to finish the military strikes that were on the table when this pause took place.
And we'll starve them. We'll starve them economically and financially too. Anyway, you two are both fabulous. Thank you ever so much, Aaron Cohen, Marc Thiessen. We will talk soon. Appreciate your inputs.